Hello, class. It is now time for Poetry Unit Lesson 12. Now, I know that I advised you to maybe go outside today to write some poetry, to stimulate the creativity, to calm the nerves, to just get your poetic expression on with the great outdoors. Unfortunately, it's not looking so good. It's rainy and cold, at least here where I am in my nice, warm garage classroom. So, wherever you are, don't get damp and sick and cold and droopy and everything outside. Stay inside your nice warm house and write some poetry inside where it's comfortable. Okay? That's my advice to you today. If you can get outside when the air gets fresher and cleaner and nicer and maybe drier and warmer, I highly advise writing poetry outside. It is a wonderful thing. It either stimulates that creativity in you or it can just kind of calm you and get all those distractions away from you, and then you're free, and those words will just flow on that piece of paper that you have. Okay, now on to Poetry Unit Lesson 12. We are doing something, we are going to be learning about something, two somethings that go hand in hand. We have stanzas and we have couplets. Why do they go hand in hand? You'll see in just a little bit. It's like salt and pepper, uh, peanut butter and jelly, bread and butter. Okay, those things go together really well. Stanzas and couplets, they just match. They go together really well. I'll show you why in a second. So stanzas. Stanzas are when you have lines in a poem and you group them into separate parts of your poem. What do I mean by that? It's almost like paragraphs. Here, I'm going to show you an example. Okay, this poem right here about a shark, I'm going to read to you in just a second. It has stanzas. See how there are two lines there, and then a space in between them, and two more lines, and then a space in between them, then two more lines, and then a space in between them, and then two more lines? Okay, those two lines put together are called stanzas. The reason why poets like to write using stanzas is because it separates subject matter in a poem. Sometimes you like to separate words in a poem to make them really stand out. Now, with stanzas, you're also trying to make a subject matter in your poem stand out, or something you're trying to express. You want it to stand out. So then that's why you create stanzas. Kind of like paragraphs. If you were writing an essay, the paragraphs would have different subject matter. And then that's why you have paragraphs, separate paragraphs, because you're separating the different subject matters in your essay. Now, with this example of this poem, we have four stanzas here, and those four stanzas are separating different pieces of subject matter in one poem. And we're going to get to this poem in just a second. Then you have something called couplets. Couplets are two lines, and those two lines rhyme. Okay? Couplets, couple, right? You think of the word couple, you think of two. Okay? Couplets is two poetic lines, and they rhyme with each other. Okay? The words at the end of the line rhyme with each other. Okay? Now you just saw an example of a poem with stanzas, and they happen to have two lines each. Okay? If those two lines rhyme each time, those can be referred to as couplets. Okay? So today, when you write your poem, I want you to write two lines each, and I want each of those two lines to rhyme. Write two lines, make them rhyme, make them a stanza, go on to your next two lines. There's your couplet, right? They rhyme. Go to your next two lines, okay? See what I mean by stanzas and couplets going together? A couplet is one stanza, and then another couplet is another stanza in your poem, and then another couplet is another stanza in your poem, okay? I hope you get it. So anyway, look at your Google Doc. There are examples, and then we have this about the teeth of sharks poem, okay? If you can see that, I'll try to get it a little closer, but I need to read sideways at the same time. About the teeth of sharks. I'll read the first stanza, which is also a couplet. The thing about a shark is teeth. One row above, one row beneath. That stanza is talking about the importance of teeth to a shark. Second stanza, second couplet. Now take a close look. Do you find it has another row behind? So now this couplet, this stanza, is asking the reader a question, if there's more teeth behind the teeth that we can see. Third couplet, third stanza. Still closer, here, I'll hold your hat. Has it a third row behind that? The poet is asking the reader to go further into the shark's mouth to see if there's another row behind the second row of teeth. Last stanza, last couplet. Now look in and look out! Oh my! I'll never know now. Well, goodbye. The poor reader has gone too far into the shark's mouth. So that was the fourth stanza, the fourth couplet. I'm going to read two more poems here with stanzas and couplets. It's in the Child's Anthology of Poetry. I don't know why. I don't know why exactly they call it the Child's Anthology, because these are amazing poems that adults and children alike love. So here's this first one, The Garden Year. It's by Sarah Coleridge. And it's so cool because it's doing 12 couplets, 12 stanzas, and guess what she's writing about? What do you know that comes in 12s? Besides donuts and besides eggs. Well, I don't know if you come up. Months. So January brings the snow, makes our feet and fingers glow. February brings the rain, thaws the frozen lake again. I don't know where she lives, not New Hampshire. March brings breezes loud and shrill to stir the dancing daffodil. Yeah. April brings the primrose sweet, scatters daisies at our feet. May brings flocks of pretty lambs, skipping by their fleecy dams. June brings tulips, lilies, roses, fills the children's hand with posies. Doesn't quite rhyme. Hot July brings cooling showers, apricots, and gillyflowers. I don't know what a gillyflower is. I'm going to look that up later. August brings the sheaves of corn, then the harvest home is born. Warm September brings the fruit, sportsmen then begin to shoot. Fresh October brings the pheasant, then to gather nuts is pleasant. Dull November brings the blast, then the leaves are whirling fast. Chill December brings the sleet, blazing fire and Christmas treat. So I'll show that to you really quickly. There you go. 12 stanzas, also 12 couplets. What makes them couplets? They are two lines and they rhyme. One last poem, and I got to tell you, there's one word in here that I didn't look up the pronunciation, so I'll do my best. This one's called My Brother Bert. My Brother Bert. And it definitely has many stanzas, many couplets. It's by someone called Ted Hughes. Pets are the hobby of my brother Bert. He used to go to school with a mouse in his shirt. His hobby it grew as some hobbies will, and grew and grew and grew until, kind of like a rap, huh? Oh, don't breathe a word, pretend you haven't heard. A simply appalling thing has occurred. The very thought makes me iller and iller. Bert's brought home a giant gorilla. If you think that's really not such a scare, what if it quarrels with his grizzly bear? You still think you could keep your head? What if the lion from under the bed, and the 4 ostriches that deposit their football eggs in his bedroom closet, and the aardvark out of his bottom drawer, all danced out and joined in the roar? What if the pangolins were to caper out of their nests behind the wallpaper, with the 50 sorts of bats that hang on his hat stand like old hats, and out of a shoebox the excitable platypus, along with the ocelot or jungle cattypus, the wombat, the dingo, the gecko, the grampus, how they would shake the house with their rumpus. Not to forget the bandicoot, who would certainly peer from his battered old boot. Why, it could be a dreadful day, and what, oh what, would the neighbors say? This guy, his brother Bert's got a lot of animals. I don't know if that's pronounced pangolin or pangolin. I'm going to have to look that up. All right. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this poetry lesson. Have fun with your stanzas, have fun with your couplets. Make sure that you're rhyming your couplets and make sure you're separating your stanzas. All right? Have a good one. Make a great poem.